The rain poured relentlessly against the towering glass walls of the corporate headquarters, but inside, the atmosphere was even colder. The conference room buzzed with tension as the CEO, Daniel Hartman, watched live surveillance footage from various parts of his company. His mother, Eleanor, dressed in a faded gray cleaning uniform, her silver hair tucked under a red scarf, wiped the floors of the same building she once helped him dream about. But no one in the room knew her true identity. They saw her as an old, invisible woman meant to be ignored. Daniel, with a heavy heart, had sent her undercover, desperate to uncover the toxic culture he suspected had festered beneath the polished surface of his billion-dollar empire. Before we dive deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the importance of treating every human with dignity, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Corner. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that matter. Daniel's mother had been hesitant at first, unsure if she could handle the grueling work at her age. But seeing the disappointment in her son's eyes, she agreed. For weeks, Daniel had heard whispers of mistreatment among lower staff, of arrogance and cruelty from his top executives. It wasn't just about profit margins anymore, it was about humanity. Eleanor's heart broke when she heard her son doubt the very people he had once trusted to run his company with integrity. Now, as she scrubbed floors and emptied trash cans, she witnessed firsthand the truth he feared. The first few days were disheartening. Eleanor watched as young, sharply dressed managers strutted past her, not sparing a glance. Some even tossed trash on freshly cleaned floors without a second thought. She endured dismissive glances, whispered insults, and sarcastic jokes about her age. Each night, she returned home exhausted, her body aching, tears threatening to spill. But she held on, knowing Daniel needed to see what she saw. One afternoon, while cleaning the executive wing, Eleanor overheard a conversation that pierced her heart. Several department heads laughed about how even the help is replaceable, and joked about cutting janitorial staff to save money. It wasn't just the words, it was the venom behind them. Eleanor, her hands trembling, fought the urge to confront them. Instead, she took mental notes and relayed everything to Daniel later that evening. The more she revealed, the darker the picture became. Daniel, watching his mother endure such humiliation, was torn between rage and guilt. But he knew patience was crucial. They needed undeniable proof. He asked the security team to enhance surveillance and instructed them not to intervene unless things got dangerous. It wasn't long before things escalated. One rainy morning, Eleanor arrived early to clean the main conference room. As she mopped the floor, the senior management team stormed in, arguing loudly about a delayed project. Seeing her there, one of them, a man named Victor, sneered and deliberately knocked over his coffee cup, letting the dark liquid spill across the table and floor. Without apology, he demanded she earn her pay. Humiliated but composed, Eleanor silently cleaned the mess as the executives laughed. But the breaking point came later that day. During a staff celebration, Victor grabbed a glass of water and, in a display of cruel mockery, poured it over Eleanor's head as she knelt cleaning. The room erupted in laughter. Tears welled in Eleanor's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She stood, her dignity intact, and walked away in silence, her heart shattering inside. Watching this unfold live, Daniel could no longer contain his fury. The next morning, he summoned all staff to the main auditorium. With the entire company present, he played the surveillance footage on a massive screen. Gasps filled the room as employees watched the disgraceful behavior toward the old cleaner. Daniel then walked onto the stage, his voice trembling with emotion, and revealed the truth. The woman they had mocked, ignored, and humiliated was his mother. The room fell into stunned silence. Faces turned pale, eyes dropped to the floor. Daniel, fighting tears, addressed the crowd about compassion, respect, and the kind of culture he wanted in his company. He then announced immediate dismissals for those directly involved in the abuse, regardless of their positions. Victor and several others were escorted out under the watchful gaze of their peers. The atmosphere in the company shifted overnight. Departments underwent training on empathy and respect. Daniel personally met with every staff member, ensuring open channels for grievances and promoting a culture of kindness. Eleanor, though shaken, stood proud beside her son, having exposed the darkness that had crept into his company. By the end of it all, Daniel and Eleanor reminded everyone of a simple truth: titles, money, and power mean nothing without basic human decency. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. And please, leave us a comment below. How would you have reacted if you were in that office that day? We read every single one of your messages and they truly inspire us to keep sharing stories like this.